So you kind of hinted on there's a spell casting going on. Would you think, and I know this is always controversial when I bring this up, it
Yeah.
feels to me like it's not just bad guy spell casting, it feels like it's good guy spell casting also. In fact, if you just your everyday prayer, somebody could say that that's spell casting if you really break it down on the way it's done. What's your thought process on that?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different. I mean, I was listening into a conversation yesterday with two of my female friends, and they said, well, we should get our white witch hats on and do some serious damage. And I was like, is that any different?
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
any is that any different? But the thing is, if you're being attacked spiritually, you have to learn how to spiritually defend yourself.
Right.
And is that does that make you a magician? Does that make you a warlock? I mean, I got called a cabal warlock on Facebook last month, which I thought was hilarious. I was actually quite flattered to be a warlock, but but I don't go around saying, "Oh, I'm this spiritual bloke." I'm just an ordinary bloke that happens to be sensitive to things and then wants to know what it is and then wants to know what the solution is. And for me, the whole thing about protecting in a spiritual sense started. I got introduced to it. It's quite funny actually. Shark Tank in America.
Yeah.
Well, there's a show like that in the UK called. Oh no, yeah, there is a show like that called Dragon's Den, and one of the people from Dragon's Den actually got in touch with me and said, "You need to speak to this guy," this was an older gentleman who, as it turns out, had been clearing the earth of lost souls for 50 years. And he'd worked under somebody before him, and he became kind of like my Obi-Wan Kenobi. And this was about 14, 15 years ago. And I didn't really know what he was doing. We'd end up meeting in different, he'd want to meet in weird country. Sounds dodgy, doesn't it, when I say it like this? But he'd want to meet for lunch in weird country hotels and stuff. And then he'd ask me stuff about what was going on in the kitchen. And I'd say, I think there's a little girl in there. He says, yeah, she died here 20 years ago, or something like that. And he was sort of developing my psychic abilities without really telling me what he was doing. And then
Right.
and then he started teaching me protection techniques, which have, I'd say, saved my life over the last 15 years because there's been so many attempts at killing me over 55 years nearly. But that all got cranked up quite a lot in the last few years. And it comes in so many different forms, from literal physical things to like when they cut my fuel lines on my car to they come through your family members, they come through your friends and family, they come through they come at you at night. Even today I felt somebody walk through me. And I think that veil coming down has meant that people have had to start gearing up or their knowledge of this kind of stuff and stop going to the guys with the staffs and the hooded cloaks and the fairy wings and all, because that's all new age bollocks or religious bollocks. So it's like these are practical times well, you need practical tools in times of spiritual warfare, which is actually the subtitle of the book I've just co-written with Abby Wynn in Ireland, which is called Weapons of Mass Protection, which is coming out in about, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks. But we've decided to put. I didn't even know we are going to talk about this, and Lewis didn't know that I've written another book. So this is not a plug for a book; it's just coming out because we're talking about it. But we've
Plug it.
written this.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've written this book, and it was like it's just like I suppose a bit of an idiot's guide to spiritual protection. It's not some advanced spiritual book. It's just like layman's guide. Look, this is what we think's happening because it is. A lot of this is comes across as opinion because you can't show people. If you break your arm, you can say, "Oh, look, I broke my arm." But if you're being spiritually attacked, well, how do you show it? How do you say, "Well, I got attacked and hurt," and all of it is really based on fear, and it's all based upon essentially knocking you off your path. Because if they can knock you off your path and keep your vibration at a certain level or below, then they're achieving their objectives, which is for you not to ascend and not to find out who you really are. And that's what it's all about. And this demonic attack I had in January, and I've had a lot of these, but this one was the second worst I think I can remember.